И ще ви покажа съвсем накратко информация за националния екип по ДАК. А, От мен ще е по-така фактологична информация, но Морис Гринберг е тук, Мария Янкова също е тук. Мисля, че сега не виждам камерите добре, но те също могат, може би ще се включат с допълнение към това, което аз ще представя. Идеята за националния екип по ДАК, както казах, е така много отдавнашна идея, но доскоро нямаше как да бъде реализирана. Но с подкрепата на УНИЦЕФ, с тяхното съдействие, с всички инициативи, които те предприемат по проектите, за които чухте преди малко, възможността да се сформира такъв национален екип по ДАК стана реалност, мисля, че. Защо има такава нужда? Тъй като има много деца и възрастни, които се нуждаят от средства за ДАК. Технологиите се развиват много бързо, не са толкова познати в България. Разбира се, добре е всеки специалист, който се занимава професионално с работа с деца с специални образователни потребности, да има нужната квалификация, но тъй като наистина е огромно полето на ДАК, възниква и нуждата да има експерти по ДАК, които да са с много добра теоретична подготовка, също така с много добра практическа подготовка и те да могат да консултират както потребители, така и семейства, но така и своите колеги, учители. Като консултирате, много общо казано, тук се включват най-различни дейности, които биха могли да се осъществяват от такава мрежа от специалисти. Чухте преди малко за инициативите на УНИЦЕФ и на регионалните центрове за създаване на подкрепящи се общности, за нуждата и възможността да се провеждат обучения, семинари, консултации. Експертите в една такава мрежа биха могли да имат много различни функции. Казвам могат, защото пък не трябва прекалено много всички функции да им се вменяват на тях. Всички участници в процеса на всяко ниво трябва да си поемат своите отговорности. Но от всички страни се осъзнава нуждата от такава роля на експерт по ДАК. Аз казах, че освен ние фондация АСИСТ, Помагащи технологии, освен УНИЦЕФ, тази идея има подкрепата и от страна на дирекция Приобщаващо образование към МОН. С тях водим от дълго време разговори за това, че е нужно да има такива експерти. Те подкрепят, съдействат, но винаги сигурно някои от вас ще кажат след малко, че биха искали още по-голяма подкрепа. Но това е идеята на този национален екип по ДАК, като до момента това, което беше проведено като обучение, започнаха през юни, продължават и сега. За някои вече са приключили, за други продължават до средата на декември. Като до момента, като обучители сме професор Гринберг и аз. Надяваме се да можем да планираме отново, нали, това зависи и от хората, които са в националния екип, и от нас, и от УНИЦЕФ, но най-вече и от чуждестранните експерти. Част от тях са в момента присъстват на тази конференция или присъстваха предишните дни. Това е идеята като обучение да има и няколко интензивни, няколко дневни курсове, практически присъствени, които да са водени от чуждестранни експерти. От професор фон Течнер, професор Стацклайф от Норвегия, от израелския екип, вие чухте представенията на ЮНИТ, Гуел Карниели и нейния екип. Така че това е пожелателен план. Следващата година вероятно ще можем да кажем дали се е случило и как са протекли и тези обучения. В обученията до момента бяха включени 34 специалисти. Виждате от различни организации, както от регионални центрове, така и от ЦСОП. Това е броя на институциите. Значи от всяка организация може да има по няколко специалисти, които са включени, като това са хора, които са не само с опит в използването на ДАК, но и с много силна мотивация. Това е един от основните фактори, тъй като обученията, които бяха до момента, мисля, че ги има на следващия слайд, всъщност отнемаха 160 часа, както онлайн занятия, така и присъствени, но така и много самостоятелни практически занимания. И мотивираността на експертите всъщност е наистина много решаваща. Аз искам да благодаря на всички, които се включиха в тези обучения, защото това сте хора.
Who participated in these trainings. I don't know which person to use, because these are people who are most active not only in the AAC field, but in the field of working with children with special education needs as a whole, in the field of inclusive education as well. And all the experts who took part in the trainings are really busy with other projects and initiatives, not only the ones that you heard about at this conference. They're also working under international projects and programs. So I can say once again that the motivation was very strong, and I really appreciate that. The team members to present date. No, I'm saying to present date because the completion of all independent tasks and all the activities they're still ongoing to the middle and will be until the middle of December. So you can see the experts on this slide, and these are our colleagues whose presentations you heard in the last few days and today. Велина Митрова, Димитър Козарев, Кристина Давчева, Павлина Дескова, Нина Русева from Varna, Anna Dincheva from the Regional Center of Sofia, Maria Stancheva from from the Social Rehabilitation Center, and you can see them here today. And on this slide are the other team members. Some of them are also panelists today. Others, maybe they're not quite familiar with the Zoom functions. In order to be able to turn on your camera, you need to be a panelist. I tried to change your participation status, but some of you rejected the change. But I'd like to introduce Десислава Василова and Tatiana Yanakieva from the Regional Center in Burgas, Daniela Kirova from Dobrovich, Milena Minkova, Stara Zagora, Diana Kiramacheva and Joanna Angelova from the Specialized School for Visually Impaired Students, Greta Tomova from Gaborova, Ilyana Milosheva, Bratsa, Daniela Mechtanova, Kerchali, and Aneta Morfova and Elena Gorcheva from Karin Foundation. If any of you decides that they want to be a panelist, please tell me so that I can change your status, because I believe it would be useful if you see each other and meet each other. I can see Desislava Sebova has raised her hand. I will now try to change her status. But I'll need a couple of minutes to just to finish my presentation. And the other team members that I hope will join the team in December. Once again, I'd like to emphasize that these are some of the most active AAC experts in Bulgaria. Darinka Pechalova, Jana Vasileva from Velingrad, Stanimir Stefanov and Maria
Dimitrova Propovište, Bani Rachevni Dimitrova from Sofia City, Maria Kirva from the regional center in Sliven, Theodor Kolatova from the regional center in Montana, Mario from Median and Elisanova. So, our expectations is that by the middle or end of December, the team will comprise 30 experts who will be able to implement their functions as AAC experts. Now, once again, I'll try to. So what I'll do now is to try and change the status of
share and comment with their views. But while I'm doing this, Maurice Greenberg and Maria Yankova can now elaborate on what I've said. Yes, I'm sorry that I've been having seem to have a cold of some kind, sort of throat. But what I wanted to say is that the experience that training participants and our experience as trainers is unique and, in my opinion, very useful. I don't know whether the participants see it the same way, but we saw a lot of things being clarified. That this team is not an attempt to establish some kind of elite. The idea is to really acquire an understanding of the AAC spirit. The ISAC spirit is a phrase that I use a lot. In our preliminary talks with some of the lecturers we've invited, many of them shared that the struggle is going on, still going on. I said that it is our priority now to have some kind of mechanism for funding access to AAC devices for families in Bulgaria, not only children, but adults as well. There was a question in the chat about people, adults with ALS, who are completely abandoned in Bulgaria. But there are really a lot of problems in that field. Many experts from USA and other countries said, yes, for children it is easier, but for adults and the elderly it is much more difficult. So we should continue our struggle and attempts to provide help for such people. Everybody knows that this is a process. I think Professor von Techner mentioned this on the first day. He said that yes, we can use and apply certain technologies, but new ones will appear. Some people said that the generated voices sound artificial, but Stephen Hawking said in one of his presentations that yes, it's not his voice, it has an Irish accent, and he was not Irish, but he's very happy that he has a voice, that we have artificial intelligence now. We've got so many technologies and new ones that will be appearing, and of course professionals and the experts will have to acquire new skills and new knowledge. And even though it is now widely talked and that the issue of the application of high technologies in education is widely discussed all over the world, which of course would require the training of the educationalists working in the fields. So all of us need to continue developing, to continue acquiring new knowledge, new skills, so that they can provide support for people who need it. And the other thing I wanted to say is that we need a high level of expertise. And this is why we've been discussing the idea of having such a team in place, which took many years to make a reality. We've met many people who had already undergone trainings, who had access to such technology. Many of them were interested in the training, and we hope we manage to include all the active ones. But this is just the beginning. I don't want to make anybody feel despaired, because you cannot include and cover everything in presentations and lectures, and more needs to be done. And once again, we are relying on UNICEF and their support. I have had many discussions with Ms. Greta Gancheva, who supports the idea for the AAC team members to have access to the technologies, to the full system. But at present, that's not a possibility. But we all firmly believe in the need of having such reference people and experts in place. So once again, I'm really happy that the number of enthusiasts was so high, and that these people put great efforts to complete the trainings. I hope that everybody, each one of them, appreciates this.
If I may say something, I would repeat some of the things that Professor Greenberg mentioned. Firstly, that this team is a team at which we are looking as a structure which will be renewed with time. It will be further supplemented, but we will keep adding the competences, skills, and knowledge in view of the new things which are appearing. I would like to add two more things. For us, it's very important, as Jenny mentioned this in the beginning of this discussion, that all professionals that we have gathered here today and who are a part of this team have different functions. And I strongly believe that as regards the AAC topic, this is very valuable because these functions supplement each other, including our education is set up in such a way that these children can pass through the different specialists depending on what stage of their life they are, at what level their resources are to develop and to learn. So it's important to look at the regional centers and the centers for special education need and the NGOs and the services provided by them as a team which supplements its expert knowledge. And in this way, we are trying to put together the dispersed picture of AAC around the country. Now we have a wonderful opportunity with the team, not only at the Ministry of Education and Science, but at the Ministry of Labor and Social Policy. They are open for new things, to partnerships. And now at the Ministry of Education, there is a process of updating both the standard for inclusive education and of the Preschool and School Education Act in Bulgaria. And now is the time for everything we're talking about, namely the role of the AAC experts and the obligation for the AAC expert to be involved in the process of evaluation, especially if there are cases of a child who needs access or rather a device for accessing a computer, and the subsequent capacity, the need of funding for AAC. These need to be set in the regulations, and I very much like to see something, namely, I believe that the tradition that we started with this panel, in which we are moving more in the challenges that we have in Bulgaria, is a very good opportunity for us to structure proposals that could be reflected urgently in the pieces of legislation and in subsequent measures, especially by the Ministry of Science and Education. I will stop here and I will take notes about any ideas that you may have in addition, so that we can ensure this process, because we from UNICEF want, with the projects that we're implementing together with the ASIST Foundation, we want to set sustainable mechanisms, even at the time that we will no longer have the financing, or we might not be in Bulgaria to continue these processes, in order to sustainably set the mechanisms through which these processes would continue, including changing the composition of the national team on AAC. Thank you. These are very important guides. These are